This video has been extremely difficult to finish because I keep losing it. I keep crying. So a few weeks ago, I asked my growing community, what is the next dream video you want to see? And by overwhelming majority, people wanted to see a video about why deceased people show up in your dream. In these dreams, they were there, a deceased person. And it wasn't like a regular dream. It felt vivid. You recall every detail. It felt like they were actually in the room with you. And the question you can't shake is, was that real? Was that actually them? Or were you simply trying to process grief? If you've had this experience, you're not alone and you're not losing your mind. This is one of the most common and most misunderstood experiences that people bring to me. Has this happened to you? I would love to hear about your story in the comments. Based on my own experience, both my personal dreams and the hundreds of dream sessions that I've done with other people, I see 5 distinct categories. And let's dig into each one, starting with the juiciest first. Type 1 is the visitation to say goodbye. Now, this category, if you've had one, you don't even need me to describe it because you know. A visitation dream is unmistakable. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of it because it's so intense, it's heart-wrenching, or it's almost scary in how real it is. Something's happening and you feel it in your whole body. The night my grandfather died, he came to me. I remember the place that I was living. He showed up in my hallway. And I think that that's interesting too. A hallway, it's a corridor, a transition from one place to another. So even the setting has meaning. And he wasn't in ghost form. He wasn't solid either. He looked kind of like a hologram. And he said something like, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the essence was, hey, I just wanted to let you know that this might be the last time that you see me. I love you, and I just wanted to say goodbye. And in that dream, I was like, oh, of course, I love you so much, and I'm glad you came to visit me. And when I woke up, I knew he was gone. Not too long after that, I got the call, your grandfather passed away. Rest in peace. Such a lovely person. I can still see his face, missing some teeth, and I can smell him, diesel and smoke. He was a heavy smoker, unfiltered Camels, and he drank this beer that was literally called beer. Just a black and white can with the word beer printed on it. He worked outside his whole life, out in the sun, in the snow, in the rain, such a hard worker. He had skin cancer, but ultimately he died of something with his pancreas. But that's not the point. But when someone visits you like this, you remember everything about them. It brings that person back into full color for you. I've had another experience like that when my cousin died. We were very close. He was one of those quiet people who he would help anyone. He was actually trying to bring internet to the area where my family lived because I wanted to move back there and work remotely. And I know right away after saying that, what you're thinking is, wait a second, you have to get internet to a place? What are you talking about? There are still places out there where you don't have internet. I literally had to walk a mile and a half up the mountain to get internet, and I'm not kidding. As I'm walking up, suddenly, oh, I get like 30 messages on my phone. Ding, 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 ding. There's places like that. Anyway, this saint of a guy was trying to get internet for me. After he passed, his parents told me that they found the conversations in his phone. The night that he died, I dreamed about a ladder. And in the dream, I remember saying, this is bullshit. And it hit me especially hard because I used to be a safety officer and I wrote ladder safety protocols. So the fact that he died from a ladder accident really stayed with me. Those dreams are not symbolic. You wake up already knowing that something has happened. So that's a visitation to say goodbye. There's no mistaking it. You wake up, you just know, yes, they were there. They came especially for you. Now, this next type of dream is when the deceased person comes, but it's really representing a time period. It represents a chapter in your life. Maybe you have someone like this too, who always shows up like what I'm about to describe. There's one deceased person who shows up in my dreams more than anyone else. And I have other relatives who have passed away, relatives that I absolutely adored, but it's always her, always my Aunt Jeannie. I lived with her for less than a year. I was around 13. My parents had just gotten divorced. And my mom was trying to find a decent place for us. And so we stayed with my Aunt Jeannie while my mom figured things out. Less than a year. And yet, she's the deceased person who shows up in my dreams more than anyone else. And I'm trying to think if there was an instance where that wasn't the case, and I honestly can't. Think about that. I lived with her for less than a year, yet she occupies my dreams whenever a dead person is going to show up. My Uncle John, her husband, he's passed too. He's super adorable, but I can count on one finger the number of times that he has shown up in my dreams. So why her? Why the person that I lived with for less than a year? She had diabetes. And other health problems. And ultimately, I think she died because she choked. But that's not why she appears in my dreams. I've seen a lot of dreams where a person who happens to be deceased is in the dream, but they're really representing a period in the dreamer's life. Maybe someone from childhood, someone associated with really happy memories, or someone connected to a difficult time or trauma. And I think that's just really important to understand, because if you wake up and say, why am I dreaming about my childhood neighbor who passed away? I wasn't even close with them. And it's like, yes, exactly. You weren't close with them, but you were deeply shaped by that time. They're just the actor, the dream cast, to represent it. Does that make sense? Here's how you can tell if it's what's happening with you. Ask yourself, was this person part of a significant chapter of your life? Is the dream showing you scenes or feelings from that era? Are you going through something now that echoes that time? If the answer is yes, it might not be a visitation. It might be you trying to heal or overcome challenges in present day through a past tense lens, and that's valid. That's real dream work. Now, type 3 is support and love. This one is so beautiful. So it's when they come just to be with you because you need it. And this is something that my grandmother does for me. She was the wife of the grandfather that I was telling you about earlier. She lived quite a while after he passed. And let me tell you about this woman. She took care of me from newborn to about 2 years old. I lived with her. We were very close. I even kind of look like her. You can see the Native American in her features, the high cheekbones, and we're the only ones with these green hazel eyes that get brighter when they're really sad or really happy. And it's just a little thing, but it's really special to me. So she used to come to me in dreams when I was struggling. Just there, her presence. No big pronouncement, no message from beyond, just her face, her energy, reminding me that I wasn't alone. Sometimes she'll simply hold my hand, sometimes she'll hug me, she'll let me know everything is going to be okay. One time in a dream, she showed me the path to a lighthouse that was deep in the woods, and this came at a time when I was struggling with a life-changing decision. So it was nice to know that she was looking out for me and helping me see my path clearly. Those dreams feel much more like guidance than symbolism. And that's just really beautiful to me. The idea that they check in just because they're your person or you're their person and they still care. If you've had a dream where a deceased loved one was simply present. Tell me about it. As much as I like telling you about my dreams, I absolutely love to hear about yours. So the next type is messages, something that they think that you need to hear. Now, this can overlap with visitations, but I think it's distinct enough to name separately because the energy is different. It's not goodbye, it's pay attention. And one of the most powerful dreams I've ever had in this category involved my mom's parents, and I've never met either of them. They were gone before I was alive. In the dream, they had a tiny baby that appeared to have died, and they placed that baby in the floorboards and covered it up. After that dream, I told my mom because I just knew it wasn't symbolic. And she told me that before she was born, her parents had a baby who was stillborn or lived maybe a couple days. And back then, they simply buried the baby in another relative's grave. There was no fanfare, no hoopla. It was just like, oh, the baby died. There's no marker. And so that's what the floorboards represented. Years later, my mom and I even tried to find that grave. We couldn't find it at first, but eventually I located it online and she was able to go there and pay her respects. And I've just always felt that her parents came into my dream because they knew that I'd remember it and tell my mom. I mean, she rarely remembers her dreams, so they knew that I'd carry the message for her. Now, my grandmother, the same one that I just told you about earlier, interestingly, she passed the same day as my dog. Well, my dog passed a year later, but on the same day. Anyway, after she died, I wasn't living in the area anymore. I wasn't involved in any of the proceedings, but I had this dream. Her body was burning, just burning and disintegrating. And I woke up and thought, oh my God, maybe she was cremated. And I found out later that day that she was at essentially the same time that I was having that dream. So that's not really a visitation. That's not a message exactly. That's kind of something else, kind of telepathy, maybe a connection through the veil that doesn't fit a neat framework. But I thought it was worth mentioning too, because sometimes dreams don't cooperate with our neat little categories. So the last type is when you're ushering the past into the light. And I actually wonder how many other people experience this. Some people seem to help souls after they've passed. And I had a dream about my ex's grandmother, Clara. My daughter and I were working in a place that almost looked like a cemetery. Suddenly, Clara appeared and her eyes were super wide. She looked frightened, completely disoriented. She didn't even seem to know what had happened. So I went over and just took her hand and gently explained everything. I showed her around and helped her become more comfortable. I felt like I was in some kind of orientation place, like the place that people go immediately after they die before moving on to get oriented. So when I woke up, I thought, there's no way that she's still alive. And I mean, I wasn't talking with my ex at the time. I didn't even have a way to contact him. I mean, it had been so many years since that ex. But years later, I did talk to him and I mentioned it. And sure enough, she did pass away at that time. Now, if you want to stick around for one last dream, this is so fresh and raw right now. I'm still in the middle of trying to figure out if this person passed away. So last night I had this dream that definitely fits into one of these categories very clearly. I had a colleague, Craig, and he became a mentor to me when I worked in building codes. And in many ways, a father figure. Like he always made sure that I succeeded and that I was always prepared. He just helped me have conversations. And for him, I feel like I was sort of another daughter because when him and his wife divorced, his wife didn't allow him to have a relationship with his daughter. And one thing I clearly remember about this man is, and just such a nice person, quiet and smart, but he had this pin that said, families need fathers. And every time I saw him, he wore that. Whenever I went back home, I'd always call him up and meet for coffee or dinner. So last night I dreamed that we were driving together on this beautiful scenic road, but he kept saying that he's so tired. And we were taking some people to the airport, and I was pointing out some memories like, oh, hey, here's that restaurant that we went to. We could stop and get some food. And he was just kind of shy about it. And he said, I'm just way too tired. And he just kept saying, I'm so tired. So I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, I'll drive for you if you want. Don't worry about it. And he said, okay. So I drove and then I took him to my Aunt Jeannie's house. And it's a really difficult dream. So he was standing there talking to me for a while, and then he said, I'm so tired. I just need to rest. And I said, okay, yeah, you can go take a nap. And he said, but I need help. So he put his arm around me, and there was something with his leg, like I was somehow supporting his leg so that he could walk to the bed. And he laid down on the bed, and I just remember the phrase, like, oh, you're laying down, you're being laid to rest. It was something like that. Like I said something very clearly like that. And he fell asleep. I went out and was doing something, and I thought, oh, let me go check on him. So I went there and he was gone. And then I thought, oh wow, I didn't think that he would drive himself home, but I guess he went home. And so like those several phrases in that dream, like he's laid to rest, he's gone. I said that too, like, oh, I checked on him and he's gone. And the last one was, and he went home. So, I mean, that dream is almost like you can't deny. I'm pretty sure that he's gone. So I'm still in the middle of trying to figure it out. I've texted him, haven't heard back. I know some people that he used to do some handiwork for, so I'm going to contact them. And what I would like to say about that is, these people in your life, go visit them. If you can't visit, call them, text them, let them know what they mean to you. Let them know what impact that they have had on you, because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. So talk to them.